What's up everybody, it's Mr. Gaff here. I'm back after a long break. My hair is longer, my waist is wider, but Tom Brady's still quarterback of the New England Patriots, so everything's okay. What? He did what? Dear God. In this video we're going to talk about ecosystems, food webs, and food chains. So first let's start off by figuring out what an ecosystem is. An ecosystem is a collection of living and non-living things that inhabit a certain area. There are many different ecosystems all throughout the world, and each creature and plant that inhabits it has evolved to fit that particular ecosystem. So when we talk about living things, we're talking about the plants and animals that live in that ecosystem. When we talk about non-living things, we're talking about the terrain and the weather that that ecosystem goes through. Like I said, there are many different ecosystems throughout the world. There's Arctic, desert, mountains, coral reefs, jungles, lakes, rivers, and I can go on and on and on. What a food web does is it shows how those animals are connected in their ecosystem. Now, a food web looks something like this. You've probably seen it before. A bunch of different animals connected by arrows. Now, the biggest mistake I see students make is thinking that the arrows point to what eats what. But if you actually took a second to think about it, that would be kind of ridiculous. For example, let's look at this one. The arrow is going from the mouse to the snake. I don't really know any mice that eat snakes, except maybe for Chuck E. Cheese. He's a big old guy. But I think he loves pizza though, so we're good. So instead of pointing to what eats what, the arrows in the ecosystem actually point to how energy moves through the ecosystem. Now, all energy in an ecosystem starts with our boy, the sun. Side note, there are actually some ecosystems that have been found recently in the deep, deep sea that use hydrothermic vents to get their energy, but it's very rare. And if you're interested in that, Google it, because I can't really get into it right now, but it's super cool. There's like crabs and like special shrimp. These tube worms, they're kind of gross, but maybe you like them. I don't know. So energy in an ecosystem will start from the sun. Every animal in an ecosystem has a specific role. The food web of an ecosystem shows us what role each animal plays in their own ecosystem. Now, there are three different roles in an ecosystem. We have producers, consumers, and decomposers. Now, you can get a little bit more complicated with this, but I'm going to stick to the basics for now. So like I said, the energy in an ecosystem, except for some crazy ones, starts with the sun. The sun gives energy to all things on Earth. Now, producers are what you would call lowest on the food chain. They are plants. They take the energy from the sun to make or produce, vocab, their own food. So producers are called producers because they produce their own food. Using photosynthesis, they take the energy from the sun to make their own food. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. Making your own food. Chef produce. Producers are plants, and they make their own food. After producers, we have consumers. Consumers consume, all right? Or they eat other organisms inside of their ecosystem. Now, there are different types of consumers. You can have herbivores, which only eat plants. You can have carnivores, which only eat meat. As a tiger, I'm a tiger. I'm a tiger. Or you have omnivores, which are animals that eat both meat and plants. Humans are omnivores, or most of us are. Humans are consumers. Tigers are consumers. Squirrels, even they're really cute, right? They're consumers as well. In a food web, there are different kinds of consumers. And as the arrows show, the energy from the sun moves all the way through the ecosystem till it gets to the top-level consumer. Top-level consumers are also called apex predators. They're the bad boys, like tigers, bears, that kind of stuff. Now, just because energy gets all the way to the top doesn't mean that it just stays there. All things eventually expire. It's a really nice way of saying that they die. Sorry. But it happens, right? When something dies, we call it our third organism, or decomposers. Decomposers are like the custodians of the animal kingdom. They take dead or decaying matter and recycle it. Decomposers can be things like ants, different types of slugs, dung beetles. They eat poop. Gross. These are the animals that make sure nothing goes to waste. They recycle the energy or matter from dead or decaying things and put it back into the ecosystem. I'm sure you're kind of realizing every animal has a specific role in an ecosystem. And the danger of that is, if one animal is removed, the entire ecosystem could collapse. So we have to be really careful and responsible as human beings to make sure that we are treating nature with respect. Otherwise, if we remove some part of an ecosystem, it will completely go out of whack, and that's not good. So just to review, food webs show how matter moves throughout an ecosystem. An ecosystem is a collection of living and non-living things in a given area. There are many different types of ecosystems, all with animals and organisms that have adapted to live in that ecosystem. Alright everybody, that's all I have for today. I think I hit everything, and if not, deal with it. Bye! Have a good one!